What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and let's talk sorry again because after last week, obviously, very good game. We performed well. I thought the tactics were solid. We played a good game, and it was fantastic to watch. And then you get to this week, back to the same old stuff. For some reason, goes without Giroud again today, which it wasn't bad. Ultimately we controlled the first half because Brighton kind of sat off a little bit scared. It allowed us to play a bit more up top. We were lacking a bit whenever it came to getting the ball wide. We didn't have any options when we got it out there because we don't have anybody in the box to serve it to because we don't have a striker. So that we were lacking there, but when it came to the quick play, moving the ball, we managed to get that early goal. In my opinion, probably should have been offsides because yes, Alonso was in the way, so we got lucky with that. After that, it was pretty much Brighton stepped out a little bit more, tried to play, and that opened up the space for the second goal. So ultimately, it wasn't a bad first half. I was still disappointed not to have Giroud in there, but it was okay. We did fine. But then second half, and it's like our second half is where we really start to lose games this season because the other team makes changes. The coach makes changes at halftime. He sets up the team tactically different. He goes out with a different plan. He tells them something that gets them fired up or has them go harder second half. We don't change second half. And it's been a theme of our season. We don't change anything second half. Tactically, we're exactly the same. We're even a little bit slower in the second half most of the time. When it comes to the subs, like I've said before, all of the subs are the exact same changes. Similar type of players in the same positions. When it comes to trying to affect the game, Sarri doesn't do anything differently. It's all the same stuff. And so the other team changes, becomes more positive, and we're just trotting along doing the same old thing. And so listen to the commentators talk about, Brighton, they did a good job second half. They came out, they attacked more, blah, 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 praising Brighton. And I'm just like, no, this is us doing nothing differently. If we had changed our game, if we had gone out with a bit more fire, if we'd gone out with a mindset of let's take it to them, let's attack, let's get that third goal, put the game to bed, then there's no problems. But we come out same exact tactics, nothing different, and we're coming out slower because now the momentum is gone because of halftime, and now Brighton's taking it to us the entirety of the second half. And aside from a few chances that were created because Loftus-Cheek came in and changed the game a little bit, aside from that, we really lost the second half. Obviously, they scored one, we scored none in the second half, but aside from that, we just were not hardly involved in the second half at all. It felt like this was entirely Brighton's game if you just watch that second half. And that's disappointing. For a team like Brighton to be showing us up, to really be taking the game to a second half, that shouldn't be happening. You don't see that happening to teams like Man City or Liverpool. At times, yes, they'll give up some goals, but most of the time it's because the other team is sat, and then counterattacked on them quickly. You don't see teams dominate them like Brighton did to us today. At least not lower half teams. You don't see that happen to them because they know how to change the game. They know how to affect it to where they switch up the game plan a little bit. Either they keep possession a bit more in the defensive third, or now they're moving the ball a bit quicker to get it downfield because they know the pressure is coming, which that's exactly what was happening to us today. And it's just like, why can't we do anything like that? Why can't Sarri see we need to change things? We need to set ourselves up a little bit differently second half. We need to get Giroud in quicker in the second half so now he has more time to get integrated into the game and we can start going longer because we'll have a target man up front instead of waiting until the last 5 minutes and then throwing him on hoping that, maybe he can give us a bit more attack. It's freezing cold and you're throwing him in with 5 minutes left to go. You really think he's just going to jump in and instantly change the game? No. So, yeah, still not convinced by sorry people. Sorry people. I really, I just don't see it. I don't see how he's going to take us to anything great when he has one good game out of the entirety of the first part of the season so far. The rest of them have either been average, decent, or bad. I have not seen anything aside from the Man City game that's made me go, yes, that was a good game from us. That was an all-around, well-played game. So, with all that being said, let's talk a bit about the individuals. Obviously, Kepa, not much to do. As far as the goal is concerned, it was very close, so it would have taken something spectacular to save it. But I'm going to once again throw in the argument that 85 million should get us something spectacular. So, until I see something spectacular out of him, I'm still just going to blast him because I hate the fact that we wasted that much money on an average keeper. In the defense, pretty much the same exact stuff that I've been seeing all season. Espilicueta, solid. Rudiger, solid. David Luiz, iffy at times. And Marcus Alonso, worst player on the field again. And it comes down to the fact that he just doesn't help us defensively. You know, he loses track of his man. He's not fast enough to keep up with most people. He dives into challenges. He makes stupid challenges. On the attack, he was a little bit better on the attack today. Had that one really nice shot. Had a couple good runs. But he's still not doing enough to justify why he's on the field. But, again, we don't have a left back. So I'm kind of thinking, why not just... I know it's not Sarri's system, but why not try to go without a four-back system? I mean, we pretty much don't go with a four-back system already. We already have kind of a system that he gets up the field and Espilicueta will stay back. And we go with a back three anyway. So why not just change the system to where we already are accounting for that? You know, you put... I don't know, Zappacosta on the right side, I'd have Alonso on the left side, and then you have Espilicueta, David Luiz, and Rudiger in the three. So now you've got yourself set up for a back three. You've got two players that are going to stay wide, unlike Willian and Pedro, who tend to cut inside way too much and not give us the width that we need. Now you've got two people that are going to be wide and are going to give you something on the width, on the ball, most of the time. Sometimes Alonso's not good enough. But, I mean, Zappacosta's been pretty good on the ball, so why not give him a chance? But no, just the same exact formation, same, and it leads to a lot of moments. You know, Alonso, half chance of him getting sent off if the referee sees that March might be getting onto it, and he decides, you know what, yeah, that was enough for me to give him a red. Some refs will. You know, we got a ref today that was not really throwing out anything crazy. You know, he was just kind of keeping it close to the chest. He let some guys get away with some yellow card challenges, but then the next challenge was a yellow card. So he kind of let it play out a little bit. So on that, you know, I didn't expect him to be a red because he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't calling the game like that. But another ref on another day may look at that and say, you know what, he was through, so you're gone. And it's all because he's too lazy. There was another one where he could have gotten a yellow for this challenge too. Nakayar is coming behind him, and instead of just putting his body in the way and bodying him off the ball, instead he throws his arm in the way first because he's too lazy to get his body in the way. And another ref looks at that, sees the arm go into his face, and says, okay, you know what, that's worthy of a yellow, and gives him a yellow for it. And then, obviously, he gets thrown off on the next yellow card challenge. But why aren't you... First of all, why aren't you quick enough? And second of all, why aren't you smart enough to put yourself in a position to where you're not having to throw your arm into his face and put yourself in that position because you've already stepped in the way. You know, he's tried to go around you. You just step across him. You don't need to put your arm up because you're not lazy. But unfortunately, we've got Alonso, and we've got to deal with that. So, and then I guess I'll talk a bit about David Luiz as well, because there are moments that I just feel like you have these moments where he'll do well defensively, and then you'll have these moments where all of a sudden he's doing something, he's going into a header that he has no right to be, or he's stepped out of position and now there's like a gap behind him that is wide open, and we know Alonso's not going to cover it, and Rudiger has to cover his man on his side of the field. So, once again, my idea is, why not have David Luiz on Espilicueta's side, because we know Espilicueta can cover him, and then have Rudiger on Alonso's side because we know Rudiger can cover for Alonso. I don't understand why that's not being talked about. Why is nobody noticing that and saying, hey, let's switch that around? Because we need that to happen. We need the better defender to cover the worst defender. You know, I don't understand why Sarri can't see that. Why he doesn't see that's a good idea. Or at the very least, switch Espilicueta over to the left side and bring in Zappacosta, because honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Zappacosta, but he's solid. You know, he does a good job on the ball. He does pretty well defensively. And he's bringing more to the field than Alonso, at least from the games that I've seen him. So why not just give him a chance to run it out, see what would happen? Because Alonso's not done enough to justify his time that he's been getting. He's not done enough to make me think, yeah, I would trust to put him out. I don't see that. I don't trust him anymore. So, anyway, I ranted about that for a long time. Time to rant some more about Jorginho because in a game where, once again, the team is pressing us high, they're causing us problems, what is Jorginho doing? Not much. Defensively, he doesn't do much. On the ball, whenever we're under that much pressure, doesn't do much. There are times whenever he's not quick enough to get the ball out from under his feet and find a good pass. So, what happens? Well, we give it away. And then defensively, like I said, he doesn't do enough to justify being there. And the biggest sin, once again, in some games, having Conte up the field is a good thing because, yeah, he can push high, he can press high, he can win the ball high up the field. Great. But in a game like this where they're sitting back a bit and they're just looking to counter, what's Conte going to be good for? I mean, it's not like he's going to win the ball off of them high up the field because they have everybody back. So even if he does win it off them high up the field, where's he going to go with it? Right into another defender. And on the ball, he's not really good enough to play whenever there's so many people surrounding him. When it's on a counterattack, yeah, he does fine. He can find a good pass. But when he's got 5 people in front of him, he's not the best at that. He gave the ball away quite a few times today because ultimately it's still not his position. It's not his best position. He'll do fine. He'll have good moments. He'll have bad moments in that position. You put him at that defensive mid position? No, he's going to have a solid game every single game. He's going to have at least an 8.0 performance every game instead of some games he's doing like an 8.0, a 9.0 performance, and then some games he's having like a 4.0, 5.0 performance. And today was more of closer to the 5.0, I think. And then Kovacic, still working very hard, still doing a lot on the ball. A little bit more frustrating today because it felt like he didn't really find the option at the end of a good run or a good passing sequence. It felt like there were times when his head kind of went down too much and he didn't find that final ball and he lost it too easily. But I still think he's a very solid player, still very necessary in there. Up front, the front three, Pedro, once again, very good game from him. I feel like he's really thriving under Sarri, and it's a shame that he is the one to come off today because I thought he was playing very well. Yes, was he a little bit at fault for the goal because he wasn't working back? Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if he would have been able to do much to challenge them in the air, but yeah, he was out of position for that one. Willian, still not seeing much from him. It feels like he'll have moments on the ball where, okay, yeah, he does something well. But then there are other moments where just nothing from him. He loses the ball too easily, or he'll go into a position and, God, what was the one? It was like final minutes of the game. He's got Conte making a run around him. He's got Loftus-Cheek making a run into the box, into space. And you've got a ton of space to chip it into him or try to find his feet or something. And what does he do? He stands on it, he stands on it, he stands on it, he stands on it, he stands on it. They put pressure, and now he's going back, passing it to Aspilicueta, who's under pressure, who then has to go back to Rudiger, and the pressure just keeps coming. And now it's like if we lose the ball anywhere in that segment, they're coming at us with speed. So why not try to get the ball into the box? If we lose it there, at least it's a 50-50 challenge, and we can try to win the second instead of passing it back and putting ourselves in a position where if we lose it, it's no longer 50-50. They've won the ball, and they're counterattacking against us. It's like he doesn't see that, and he wastes all of our time. He wastes so much space and opportunity on the ball because he's just standing there waiting for something to happen. It's kind of frustrating, and he doesn't really justify anything with something fantastic throughout the rest of the game. I don't see him working extremely hard to win the ball back. He does at times, but so does Pedro. Both of them work about the same to win the ball back. On the ball, though, Pedro just does so much more to affect the game and help the team than Willian does, and it's why I think, Pedro's going to have a better season this season, at least in my opinion. And then you got Hazard up top again as a false nine. Not bad today, not really super effective. He still had his moments where obviously he changes the game with some quick runs. Probably should have drew a few more yellows if the referee were not so lenient today. But overall, it was a good, solid game from him, but nothing spectacular. And especially in the second half when we needed him to kind of step up a bit more and keep possession a bit more, try to, I guess, put the game to bed. Especially there's one where Spilicueta played him behind, great ball across, and Hazard's right there. All he has to do really is get a touch on it, poke it towards goal. There's a good chance it's going to go in. And he just kind of swings and misses at it, and it was a wasted chance. So, I don't know. I feel like in the moments where we needed him to step up today and affect the game when things started going against us, he wasn't really there. And that's disappointing because obviously he did his job in the first half. Got the assist, got the goal. He was very effective. But then second half things changed and he just kind of faded out of the game slowly. So as far as the subs are concerned, of the three, I think Loftus-Cheek was probably the only good sub overall. Barkley, I got no problem with Barkley, but I just don't like the fact that he's bringing off Kovacic. I, once again, think it should be Jorginho coming off. And then Giroud just, not a bad sub, but just came on way too late. But yeah, Loftus-Cheek comes on, and of the three, he's definitely the one that changed the game the most, just because he's a different type of player than Pedro and Willian. So you put him further up top, and he's very good at holding up the ball. He's got strength. He's got speed. Honestly, yeah, it's a good sub. It's probably the only, I'm not going to say it's like for like, but it's the same position. It's the only same position sub that I think will change the game because he is different than what Hazard and Pedro and Willian can bring. Whereas you switch Barkley and Kovacic, they're practically the same player, except Kovacic is a little bit better on the ball. He's a little bit more creative, whereas Barkley is more just like a hard worker. So, yeah, they're similar players. You bring Giroud on a little, I mean, not a bad sub. Again, Hazard had taken a few knocks. You want to try to get him off and have him, treat the injuries. That's fine, but it's coming so late that Giroud's not going to have time to do anything, and you could see it. Some of his touches, some of his passes were not on today because, he's been sitting the entire game, and you're like, here, 5 minutes, go, do something. That's difficult to come on at that time. Yes, it's fresh legs, but he's more a player that thrives under a challenge, that works himself into a game, that battles himself into the game, and he didn't have enough time to do that today. And then Barkley was just kind of, out there. In my opinion, actually, probably, if not for the fact that Alonso were so bad today, it would probably have been our worst player today because he came on, missed a few challenges, really seemed to lose track of people too easily in the midfield, and gave them some of their best attacks. So I'm looking at these subs, and once again, I'm wondering, what is Sarri seeing? The Loftus-Cheek sub is good, Barkley sub just did nothing, and then Giroud last second, why are you throwing him on so late? So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's another game where, yes, we win, but it's not comfortable, it's not convincing. It's coming after a game where tactically we were set up so well, and we changed our game to affect that one. And then we go into this one, and everything just kind of remained the same. We went back to the same old stuff. We went back to the same old problems that we've had all season. They came back at us with fire and pace and energy, and we just kind of went, oh, no, what do we do now? Oh, my gosh, just kick it. Oh, my gosh, oh, this pressure, what do we do? Oh, they're so strong, and they're fighting and battling against us. Oh, my gosh, it's like we don't have any strength. Why can't we learn? Why can we not adapt to a situation? So I'm still frustrated overall. We have our moments. We have our moments. Don't get me wrong. We do have some good moments. We do have a lot of good play this season. But I worry about our season overall because we still have that capability. Set pieces, we are still going to give up chances on set pieces because, God, we are awful on set pieces. Whether, it's our set pieces where we're just terrible and practically don't even create a chance and they're just going to pick it up and counterattack against us, or defensively on our set pieces, we're terrible. Free headers, it's so easy to attack us on corners and free kicks and all of that. And we haven't been that way in the past. Under Sarri is when it started, so I'd take from that what you will, but in my opinion it is telling that this season has been probably the first season where set pieces have looked to be our downfall. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that with set pieces we look so weak because we haven't so far. At least as long as I've been a Chelsea fan, we have not looked susceptible on set pieces. So, anyways, That's all for me, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on today's game? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.